let's also be real
They need
too.
me.
Like you're one of the main reasons that this whole YMCMB and all these guys, and the
Young
Slim
Money.
and
A
Lil
million, a
Gremlin,
million,
Lil
a
Wayne, and all
million,
them,
a million.
are doing well right now because you helped them
I
in
don't
from the
know
start.
that I'm the reason they're doing well because they're very talented.
Yes,
But
Yeah.
I'm the reason
Not
that
all
they
of them,
own their
yeah.
masters. Let's say it like that. I'm
Well,
the reason that they're
yes.
making as much money as they are.
Can you say that again, please, Miss Wendy Day? You're the reason what?
That they own their masters and are making the bulk of the money compared to what Universal makes. That deal was a very special deal. It was an 80-20 split.
80-20
Can you,
split.
without going into extreme detail,
Wow.
just break down exactly what that kind of deal was that
Wow.
they had that you got them out of?
I'm happy to do that, but you realize it's going to go over the heads of a lot of people because they probably don't know what a normal record deal even is. But yes, the guys, it was an 80-20 split. They got $3 million advanced to them per year for a 3-year period. And then they had a line of credit for $1.5 million for each of 6 artists that they would want to put out
Wow.
over that period of time, that annual period. So it basically was a $30 million deal. After I did the deal, they chose not to pay me, and I had to sue them. So
Who did you sue?
roundabout
Who did you sue?
I'm sorry?
Who did you sue?
Cash Money.
Oh.
So roundabout the 20th. I'm sorry?
No, I'm sorry. I'm just realizing, see, that it's a trait that goes on with Cash Money not paying the people.
Yeah, they don't pay anybody. And I used to take it personal, but then I realized that they don't even pay their own artists. So anyway, I sued them in the
Well,
20th
J-Mills.
month. I had to put together this
Wow.
spreadsheet for the judge to show, how much money they had made over that 20-month period. And back then, it was $70 million, 70. So even though it was a $30 million deal over a 3-year period, in their 20th month, they had already made $70 million.
In
So
its
it was really
20th
kind of a good
month.
deal. Long story short, I sued them. I won. I got the money.
Nice.
Yeah,
let me get
it was kind of a happy moment for me.
Let me get $5, Wendy. I'm saying just $5.
Please.
Maybe I'll give you 10. I'll give you 10.
She said, no,
Ten
she
will
said
get
she'd give you
20.
more.
Oh,
Oh
that's
my
what I'm talking
God.
about. See, that's what happens when you get with the Rap Coalition. They get you more than your average deal.
Exactly.
I think
But then let me
that,
also tell you the other thing that I do, because other than pulling people out of bad deals and then helping them get into good deals, and getting somebody into a good deal is the for-profit side of what I do. The secondary thing that I do is I help people that have proper funding set up record labels, independent record labels. And that's really gratifying, because when an artist is able to find an investor, and to be honest with you, it's easier today to find an investor than it is to find a record deal. So an artist who has an investor who's willing to put up somewhere between $300,000 to $500,000, when they start their own label and put out their own music, they're able to get $8 a CD or $6 a download. And it's much more profitable for an artist to control their own music and their own art form than it is to sign to a major label where they're going to get 12% of the retail selling price, which is less than $1. And
but
they
what,
have to
what
pay
if they
back
get
everything that was
exposure,
spent.
though? They get the exposure. Ain't that right? If they
They
sign to a major label?
absolutely do,
So
but they
it's-
don't get to choose where that exposure is because they have no control. So they're kind of at the mercy of the record label, which is a good thing if the label gets it. Like, let's be real, Def Jam did a great job with Rick Ross. Def Jam did a great job with Young Jeezy. So there are situations where signing to somebody is great. I just don't.
Well-
As an advocate for artists, I don't think 12% of sales after they pay everything back warrants that level of exposure. I would much rather, if I were a rapper, I would much rather be Tech Nine than Rick
Yes.
Ross.
Well, I got to say, in behalf of Jeezy and Rick Ross, they had their own entity moving prior to the label Def Jam. There was,
but Rick's was owned by Slip and Slide. So,
yes.
whether he's owned by Slip and Slide or owned by Atlantic, I mean, do you really want to have a conversation about which slave master owns you, it's still ownership, right?
Wow, that sounds like some real slavery talk right there. Wow,
That's
some real slavery
owning
talk.
the masters. The master own. Do you own your masters, or do the masters own you?
And what is master? Some people, it might
Masters
sound like
is
stupid,
the
but,
ownership of the actual musical disc itself. So if you go into a studio and you cut a record, when you walk out of that studio, you're going to have music on a CD or a DVD, or if it's old school, on some tape. And that physical thing that you have in your hand is the master. You own it because you've created it. If you're signed to me as a record label and I've paid for you to go into the studio, then I own your master, which means I can do what I want with it. I can release it on CD, I can put it on iTunes, I can send it to a porn flick to put in the background of, some movie. I could give it to Coca-Cola for a commercial. Whoever owns the master controls the usage of that music.
Is that the reason why sometimes people say, listen, like Cuban Link, how did my album come out so on bootleg so early? Is that kind of situation that could possibly happen when your music gets out there way ahead of time?
I think bootlegging is a different issue. I think bootlegging is more when somebody gets a hold of the music and releases it for their own self-profit. I don't think somebody would. I don't think the record label does that, because the record label makes the lion's share of the money anyway. So why bootleg when they can just do it legitimately and still make the same amount of money,
Absolutely. It's Thermal Soundwaves. We're talking to Wendy Day here, founder of the Rap Coalition. 212-491-4685 is the number. And what is the name of your marketing and promotions company?
It's called Power Moves.
Power Moves. And explain to everybody a little bit about what goes on with that company.
Well, that company works with artists that have investors and are properly funded, and we help structure and organize the labels so that the artists, because not all artists are meant to be entrepreneurs. So what we do is we set up the labels for the artists so that it's sort of turnkey, and they can run their own projects, yet have somebody that has entrepreneurial background set it up for them and make it a little easier for them.
Now, this is Thermal Soundwaves Radio, WHCR 90.3 FM. The world famous radio boy, C-Truth Kevlar, is here with Miss Wendy Day. Miss Wendy Day, we also have to tell you thank you. Not just because of the information that you've given us tonight, to us and the people, but also with a gift you gave us before us that was a guest on our show. And I am correct, see?
Yes.
Mr.
Ricky Ross.
The real Ricky Ross.
Yeah, Ricky's awesome.
Yes.
And that came